Hey guys, I just wanted to say before we get into this video, I need to clarify a few things. I am not looking to start any trouble. I am not looking to cause any legal issues. I am simply just telling a story to help out others if they need help or anything. And I am not wanting to cause any issues whatsoever. I said it before, I'm saying it again. That way, so I'm protected and the others are protective. I respect everybody still to this day that are involved, and I still will say that I still love them as family. Uh, I have no ill will towards them, and nor is this video supposed to reflect bad on them. It's just to share a story, and that's all. So I am so sorry if this offends anybody, or if the person that is watching this is one of those people. I am terribly sorry. This is not to reflect bad on you. I wish you goodwill and good luck, and I will let you guys watch the video now. Bye bye. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today in this video, it's just gonna be another blog, or vlog, sorry, blog. I don't know why I said blog. But I just want to talk to you guys because there has been some things going on that I haven't really talked about a whole lot because it didn't really need to be talked about. I waited a while before I wanted to talk about it, obviously. For very obvious reasons. I also was scared to talk about it because I was scared of retaliation from everyone who associates themselves with said person. Mainly because I wanted to wait for the other party to move on before I said anything about it. If that makes sense. I'm just thinking about them in general, and it was just too soon before to say anything. It just didn't feel right. I have, since November 5th specifically, gone through a lot. And it was just a lot that I just didn't want to talk about it, and I finally feel like I can. I have a platform to do this on, and I have an audience to talk to, and I'm gonna open that trust back up again, and it feels good. Back in November, well, first off, I should start off with I had two really great friends, best friends, considered them best friends. I trusted them. Everything. We hung out all the time, texted all the time, everything. Played games together. And, people always tell you life is gonna take people out from your life and put new people in. But you never expect it to be like this. You never expect it to go this way. And when it goes this way, this is the tough stuff. This is, it could have been worse, but, well, this friend of mine was, if you guys aren't familiar with group chats and Discord and stuff like that, you probably won't get this, but he's an admin of a Discord channel that I'm in and some other apps. And basically, if you're an admin, you're the rule decider. You're basically the king of that server. And basically, when stuff went down, they spreaded a bunch of stuff about me to a lot of people. Stuff that was not true, and if they would have talked to me, they would have known. And nobody wanted to talk to me or get the side from me. And I'm not going to push it on people because that's wrong, first off. I'm not going to go around and tell people, hey, by the way, they're wrong. No. I stayed quiet. I stayed back. There were moments that I did get hurt, and then I felt like I needed to express my feelings. But, that was the only wrong that I've done. But they said a bunch of things about me. Basically, those people that I was friends with through them no longer talk to me because of the situation. And the only situation is the fact that I was still friends with my friend's ex. And because of that, it caused a huge issue. It ignited an issue, and they told me that I was a terrible person for siding with that person, so-and-so X, instead of siding with the other friend. Now, before they got broken up, I told them that I was gonna be friends with both of them still. And I said, is that okay? They both said, that is perfectly fine. You know, you were friends with us separately before we got together, so that is perfectly fine. We're okay with that. And I was like, okay. You know, we understood each other perfectly fine. It's fine. You know. Well, we had Life 360 because those of you that do not know, I have epilepsy. I cannot drive because of it. I rely on other people to drive me. And therefore, people like to make sure I'm okay. And in a circumstance where but in a situation where I would have a car, Life 360 is really good for me, because then if I don't show up, they can find out where my last location was, potentially find me, save my life, or, But they got the it was my friend's decision to get a Life 360 group with me because I was moving into an apartment near them. And they wanted to be able to know when we were home or when we were going to be going over to their house. At first I thought it was a little weird, but, I went with it because, it didn't bother me. I'm not hiding anything. My family has Life 360 with me, so it's just... So... Anyway, he saw me on Life 360, saw I was at my friend's house, and a little bit of backstory before I start this off. I went over to his house because he was having really bad depression, and I wanted to be there for him because he just got out of the relationship like a month ago. And I wanted to be able to be there for him, and a month or two ago, I actually don't remember when they broke up, but I wanted to be there for him, point blank. He was already upset that I hadn't talked to him or anything for a while, and I understood that. I got busy, and some things were going on, and I just didn't have time to respond to people or go over to people's houses. So he messaged me and told me I would really like to hang out. Didn't realize how lonely I would be. I just really need somebody to be here. I said, all right, man. I said, I'll head over. I'll get a ride over, and then we'll hang out, play some games or whatever. And I also had stuff over there. I lended him 3 totes. And so I was going to also go over there and get those, but I didn't get them because he was still using them, so I was just going to wait till he's done using those. But sorry, needs water or something. But anyway, my ex-friend saw I was at his house. He messaged me. Keep in mind, he hadn't messaged me for weeks on end. It almost had been a month or 2 before he messaged me that day. And reason for that, he's a busy guy. He's always been a busy guy. He's always been busy doing stuff, so I've always been understanding about it. So when he finally messaged me, I was kind of surprised, and I was excited because I was like, hey, my friend that I haven't seen in a long time has messaged me. That's freaking cool. Or not a long time, but a while. And so I was like, okay. So I messaged him because the thing he said was, pretty sure it was like, hey, how are you doing? And I said, oh, hey, man. I said, I'm doing good. I said, how are you? And he didn't ask me what I was doing or anything. Keep that in mind. And I said, hey, man, how are you doing? I said, I hope you're doing well. I haven't heard from you in a little bit. I said, I've just been chilling here, doing the same old. Because that's pretty typical for me to say. I say same old all the time to people. And usually when my friends, ask me how I'm doing, they're also wanting to know what I'm doing. So I usually include that, I'm doing nothing. And at the time, I was doing nothing. I was literally sitting at my friend's house on the phone, on the floor, and so I was texting him, telling him that I wasn't doing anything. And that was the truth. You know, I didn't have to go into detail where I was at, what I was doing, you know, nothing like that. I don't owe that to anybody. And all of a sudden, I get a text message back saying, Jer, I know you're lying. Now, a little backstory, they call me Jer. It's short for my name. But he said, Jer, I know you're lying. Don't say that. I know where you're at. I know you're lying to me. And I'm just sitting here flabbergasted because I'm like, you know, what is going on? You know, I'm getting yelled at for no reason through text, you know, and accused of lying. So I said, what are you talking about? He said, you know what I'm talking about. He said, I know that you're at my ex's house. And I'm like, you know, okay, dude. I'm like, you know, I told him, I said, you know, I don't want to be rude or anything, but I'm allowed to be at my friend's house. I said, just because you don't like that, you don't deserve that. You don't give the right to get mad at me like that. I said, you know, I did nothing wrong. And from that moment on, he ignored me. He didn't want to talk to me. Didn't even want to hear my side. He just wanted to take the only way he wanted to go which was blame me for something that I didn't do, which is technically he thought I lied to him, because I guess for some odd reason he thought I told him that I wasn't going to hang out with my friend anymore. So that's why he thought I lied to him. But I don't ever remember promising him that I wasn't going to hang out with my friend. I remember having a conversation one night where he was really upset and he wanted to talk about some things. And he made a suggestion to me. I remember him saying that you might have to cut off all ties with him. And I remember saying something like, so, to finish that off, sorry, I thought somebody was in my house because my camera gave me a notification. But I'm just going to edit this into the other video. But my response after he asked me, you know, when he made the suggestion of, I think you should distance yourself from my friend. And I said, well, I said, if that's what I have to do, I said, then I might consider it. Because he was throwing some very, very, very bad accusations. And I don't want to get into it because that's personal. But he was throwing some really bad accusations out about my friend that, don't worry, were not true whatsoever. And he was going to call the cops on him and get him arrested. And that's also why he didn't want me to be associated with him. But I fact-checked his accusations, and the stuff he was trying to throw out weren't stuff that you can get arrested for because of the circumstances. And I told him that as a friend. I said, well, you know, I know you're really trying to do this. I said, but also by state law, this is the law here. You cannot go after this person because of the circumstances. I said, so I think you should really think about it, because if you try to do they call it a false police report, if you're just going to call them, send them somewhere, and then they can't actually do their job. That is a huge waste of time for the police. So, he never talked to me back about that, and then, like I said, we talked every once in a while after that night, and then it came to November when he blew up on me for going over there. And I just remember being so confused. So confused. And hurt. I got upset at first. I wanted to go off on him. But then I decided not to. He ghosted me for a while. Basically stopped talking to me. Decided to act like I didn't exist. Now, keep in mind, I've known this person since I was 14. So, we have a history. We know each other. And so, basically, we kind of just, went our own separate ways after that. But there was always stuff that kept coming back at me to hit me. And it hurt. I didn't know what to do. I honestly didn't know what to do. I got depressed a lot. I would cry a lot. Felt lost, honestly. And that was because my friend groups are like family to me. My family is family, but I also treat my friends like family. If that makes sense. So, it hurt. But I also knew that this was also part of life, and I had to get over it. But it's easier said than done. Trust me. Because I kept telling myself that I'm just going to move on, but I really wasn't moving on. I was stuck. I was stuck in a spot where I was constantly thinking about them. I kept constantly thinking of ways, how can I prove to them that I'm not this person that they think I am, that I'm not a bad person. And it took me forever to finally see it, that I'm not wrong. I know who I am. I know that I'm a good person. And I don't need other people to tell me that I'm a good person or not when I know the truth. If I'm a bad person, I'll know it for sure. If I'm a good person, I'll know it for sure. It's kind of the same thing as if you lie, you lie. If you don't lie, you don't know you lie. You're not lying. I mean, unless you have something going on, then sometimes you don't know. But you get my point. But it was destroying me in the inside. I have never been so mentally messed up. I've never been so sad in my life. I think it got worse when he decided to start talking to people about me. And now he didn't have to tell me he talked to people about me. I just know how he is. And I also know when people start treating you differently right after something happens like this. And that's what was going on. Right after all this happened, I lost a total of 4 or 5 friends. And all they did was, and this is how they did it, they decided instead of talking to me and working something out, they decided to completely ghost me, stop texting me, they stopped responding to my messages, and that hurt. Now, if you know me, you know I'm a very honest person, and I like honesty. If you're honest with me, I'll be honest with you, or I'll be honest with you regardless. But I like people that are upfront too. If you can tell me how you feel about me, I'll try to take it with a grain of salt. Yes, I'll be hurt at first. I'll get my feelings hurt, but I'll move on because I know what you think and I know what you want. If you want space, if you don't want to be friends anymore, that is perfectly fine with me. I just want to know, because otherwise I'm wasting my time and my life into you, a person that doesn't want anything to do with me, but hasn't told me, and it's just plain out stupid and ridiculous. It's insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and never getting different results. And you're constantly hoping for a change. I am done. And I have moved past it, but that's why I'm ready to talk about it. That's why I'm talking about it now. There was one that I just lost the other day, one friend. And it was right after I sent them a very good message of encouragement, and I gave them some advice, gave them a lot of advice, because they were going through something. So I was like, hey, if it helps, been there, you know. I was like, if you need anything, I'm here for you. It was a little bit of a lengthy message, and it wasn't too bad, but they just never responded to it. They never said anything. They completely acted like I never even texted them. I finally reached back out and I was like, hey, are you doing okay? Because I sent you a message and you're not responding. I hope you're all right. They ignored me, and they happened to be friends with my ex-friend. So that kind of threw me into a downward spiral last night, and I had to get over it because I was like, look, Jeremiah, my name's Jeremiah, by the way. Look, Jeremiah, you can't be doing this to yourself. You can't expect somebody that is associated with somebody that does not like you and that is against you right now and probably for the rest of your life to be okay with you, especially since this person is yoked in a sense with that other person. They are always around each other. So, and once I said that to myself, I was like, okay, you know, you're right. I also went to some friends and some family members about this situation. Not everybody, because that's kind of something that it's so childish and so high school based. The drama level, really, that if I talked about it to anybody, they would probably just be like, what the fuck, why are you letting this get to you? I'm not dumb. I know. That's why I refuse to talk about it. It's also the other reasons I discussed in the beginning of this video. And also I do apologize that this is a long video. It's just, this is some lengthy shit that I've had to deal with, frankly, and it's part of the reason why my shit just did not get uploaded. Part of the reason why in my other vlogs I told you stuff was going on. This was one of them. It's just that feeling of knowing that everybody is against you, and no matter what you do, you cannot change their thoughts about you. And if you can, great. But in my sense, in my circumstances, I could not change a single fucking thing. And so, because they weren't willing to listen to both sides. You know, I'm a person where I will listen to either side. I am very open-minded. My mother taught me a lot of that stuff, where she's just like, you know, with us kids, with my siblings and me, you know, we didn't get away with shit. So, you know, if I did something wrong, my mom would just look at me and she'd be like, what'd you do to the other sibling? I know it ain't just you. So, you know, and she would always tell me there is always two sides of the story. And I'm going to listen to your story, then I'm going to listen to the other one's story. And when I come up with a decision, I will let you know. And that is the way she raised us, and she's a great mother. Great mother. I love her so much. Love my father too. Great parents. You know, but because of that background, I've learned to listen to both sides. There's always two sides to a story. There's always gonna be differences, inconsistencies to the stories from each person. So, I know that. Well, they all took his side. They didn't want to listen to me. And then they had the audacity, my ex-friend had the audacity to send me one last message about listen to learn, learn to listen. He said, promise me you'll do that the next time we ever talk. And I'm sorry, I was really dumb at the moment, so I had to literally Google this. I had to Google what he said because I've never heard that saying before, and it did not click in my mind. So I looked it up, and I got really heated. I got really upset from what I found out. It's basically, it's what it says. It's what it means. You have to, learn to listen to the other person and learn to listen to the other person and listen to learn. Something like that. So basically, he was trying to tell me that I need to be more open-minded, listen to him, learn from what he has to say, and then, and I'm like, but you guys aren't doing that with me. You never did. And I get it. Life is unfair. Life is very, very unfair. And it's going to kick you in the ass. But it was just so stupid. I was like, really? So at that moment, I knew there was no getting through to them. And every once in a while, I have a deep conversation with one of my friends, and there will be tears that get shared, because it's something that still really hurts me. What they are doing, by choosing not to talk to me and not to resolve this, they are hurting me mentally, because I wasted all that time into our conversations, into our, everything. So it's just dumb, and wasting time like that is awful, and nobody should have to waste time on somebody like that. Nobody. So I just decided to, I know it's stupid, I just decided to just drop all of them. It's the only thing I can do to protect myself and keep myself healthy and be a better person. And that is why I'm going to say this right now. If you are going through something like this, don't hesitate to get help. And do not hesitate to do what you need to do to get better. And if you cannot make the decision to move on, to better yourself, and get out of a situation like this because you love that person too much, or you love that friend too much, and you think about the times you had, I'm sorry. You're going to be stuck, you're going to be torturing yourself, and you need to get out. You need to force yourself out. It's the only way out. Because I could not get out of it. Could not. Stuck like a mouse in a trap. And it's awful. It's awful, 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 awful. And I don't wish that pain on anybody. That suffering, everything. Because when you're going through that stuff, what goes through your mind, you're like, first off, you're like, I don't want to be that person to drop them if they haven't dropped me. And I don't want to be that person like they are doing, like they're being right now. There's just always this, I don't want to be the bad person. But you know what? They don't care about you anymore, because if they cared about you, they would be reaching out. They would be worried about hurting your feelings, but they weren't throughout the whole thing, even in the beginning. So because of that, what you do to them, by ignoring them, by ditching them, that ain't gonna hurt their feelings. They're still gonna live their merry lives. That's only gonna help you. So, my only advice, get out of it while you can. Help yourself. Have people there to support you, to get you through it, to, because that's what I needed. I needed people there for me. And I didn't have it in the beginning. I suffered through it. Then I eventually found some people to help me through it. And it's going to take a while to find that person, to find that trust to give to somebody. Because to open up your heart is just, it's not easy either. So, yeah. Dealt with a lot. And it kind of feels weird to kind of like spill all this, but at least the only thing I want from this is to kind of, hopefully someone will hear this message, or this video, or watch it long enough, and then hopefully I'm able to help you out. The listener, or the viewer, whatever you want to call yourself. I just hope I'm able to help you. Because I just can't fathom someone else going through something like that. You know, I feel like maybe it would be worse if this all happened in person, or maybe it would be better. And I say that, and I know it's weird to say that, because this all happened digitally. This was all posted publicly, or at least, you know, messages were sent publicly between his friends and his other friends about me. So I don't know, in my day and age, if something goes publicly, social media wise, or things are being shared between people on electronically, it's the worst ever, because then you know that it's there, and you know people are talking about you, and it's spreading like wildfire. Now, if it was just a couple friends together talking about you, you wouldn't know because you wouldn't see it. You know, if I didn't have them on social media, you know, first off, they would be there in your life if it was in person, and then they would be gone because you don't have them online. See, so it's just, I don't know. So I guess it's what you think. That's what I think, at least. And I also think that I let things get to me a little too much. Some people are able to let stuff go, and that's crazy. I love that, because I can't do that. Because I get attached to my friends and family because I love them. So, you know, the memories and the moments that we shared are precious to me. I've always been a person that has always favored the time and the moments with people that I love, you know, to be the most, you know what I'm trying to say, but yeah. But anyway, I hope this all helps. I don't know if I missed anything in this story. It's kind of a long story. God, I really need some water. God damn. Oh, hold on. I'll be right back. So, anyway, like I was saying, I just got water. I feel a ton better now. Sorry for my dogs. They are schnauzers, so they're going to bark and everything, but like I said, I hope my video was able to help you guys. I hope this even gets published, but I may have second thoughts. I may have to edit a lot due to the other people involved. I want to try to keep them as anonymous as possible, and that way, so then nothing really falls back on me, because I don't want that to happen. That's a bad situation. But anyway, just don't be scared. Don't be scared to, stand up for yourself, to be the bigger person, to do what you need to do. Because it can be rough. It can be rough to try to do what you need to do, to get out of what you need to do. And, it's tough. So, but, Anyway, guys, I probably should end the video here, because this is enough rambling on and talking. So, anyway, guys, I hope you guys have a great a great day. God, look, it's messed up my mind. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope that nothing hits you like it hit me, like a fucking train. And I hope that life will be good to you, and I hope good vibes and everything, and I hope you guys have a great day, and make sure you guys subscribe, like, leave a comment below. You don't have to, but I'm just, you can if you want. It will be most appreciated. Yeah, anyway.